Hello guys, so we'll talk about movies that are hated by people. Where it's usually movies that don't really have a high IMDb score or especially critic scores, which people are confused over what actually no one was. But yeah, the imaginary comment does exist, so like, why was The Last Jedi on the list of the most hated movies? And a lot of people hate The Last Jedi. There's a lot of people who will still go out on the way to defend The Last Jedi. The movie has a 7.0 on IMDb, which IMDb is quote unquote the most trustworthy, so we gotta take IMDb with a factor. And of course, the critics of The Last Side, which is the other reason why that movie was on the list. But yeah, now we're going over the movies that are hated, but I like. There's a lot of movies. There's probably like the movies that are popular. I don't like. Well, they'll probably still make another pop because there's still like 10 to 15 movies that are really popular. I don't like. And of course, that list is still pretty controversial. Of course, it hasn't really got many views yet, but of course, top 10 videos, the list, of course, are bound to get views over time. So, of course, we'll be talking about the opposite ones. Top 10 movies that people hate that I love. The first movie on the list is Jurassic Park 3. I used to watch this movie all the time when I was a kid. Maybe it's just nostalgia of talking. But yeah, this movie I think is pretty great. The dinosaur CGI is great. The characters are great. The storyline is pretty good, I think. Well, I just don't understand what the critics and audiences were expecting from Jurassic Park 3. Were they expecting to, for it to be like, the first movie was amazing. The second movie was good. It wasn't as good as the first movie. It was a kind of a letdown compared to the first movie. But of course, perfection is gonna be pretty hard to top. Only very few times it actually has been topped by sequels. And Jurassic Park 3, I think, is better than number 2. IMDb will try to tell you otherwise. And especially on Rotten Tomatoes, where the movie has like a 30%. Like, come on, I'm not gonna go use the critic. This critics gave it a 49%, which is similar to Jurassic World, but the audience score is only a measly 36%. Again, I like watching this movie. It's a pretty fun movie to watch. It's pretty entertaining. And that's all I thought when I was a kid. And even to this day, I think it's the same way. It's pretty entertaining. Just like the first Jurassic Park. Just like the second one. And yeah, that's the first movie on the list. The next movie on the list is an Adam Sandler movie. It's funny, I don't like the movie Happy Gilmore that much. But again, I don't really like sports that much, so it's not surprising. Next movie on the list is Pixels. This movie has even lower. This movie was considered one of the worst movies of 2015. Yep, this movie was considered. I love watching this movie. It's funny. I like all the video games. I like movies about video games, and I like all the retro game references. They're so unique. It's very unique movie, and it's kind of like a video game version of Ghostbusters. That's like the closest comparison I can come up. But look at the score: 5.5 on IMDb and 70% on Rotten Tomatoes. I watched this movie not only does the critics hate it a bad review, and I watched it with an open mind, and I actually like this movie. Yep, I actually like Pixels. Yeah, it's a really fun movie to watch, like most of these movies on the list. Again, I don't know what they expect. Again, I think the reason why people hate this movie is just because Adam Sandler is in it, which is a stupid and bogus reason to hate a movie, just because you don't like one actor. Oh, you're a hypocrite yourself. You don't like Brie Larson. Well, again, Brie Larson is a prank. Why would you like her? But again, people hate this movie just because Adam Sandler is in it. They don't hate it for the story or the characters. Some people do, but 90% of people hate this movie because of Adam Sandler. It's just a stupid reason to hate a movie. And yeah, Pixels is number 2 on the list. Number 3 movies is another movie, Angry Birds movie. I actually used to not like this movie before I saw it. I'm like, oh, Angry Birds movie. How could an Angry Birds movie be good? Well, I actually saw it. I got the movie for like $5, and the movie was surprisingly very entertaining. This movie was surprisingly very entertaining. I want to see the second one, but yeah, this movie was surprisingly entertaining. Angry Birds movie is a very funny movie, especially if you have kids and you want to find movies, and if they like the games, yeah, and I'm not really a big fan of the games themselves, but the movie was really funny, entertaining, and you know, also had some deeper messages, political messages. I don't want to go through those, a conspiracy theory that there's deeper, you know, messages in the movie that are, political, like World War, like how this movie is an allegory for the current, you know, migrant crisis and that stuff. And yeah, that's the whole political, stuff that it was a theory that was made by a certain YouTube channel, which makes Pokemon theories. But yeah, this movie was very funny. It's very entertaining, and yeah, I actually like this movie. Next movie, oh yeah, people who do not like me for liking this movie. Next movie is Cows 2. Yep, Cows 2, and the first one. I don't really get, and probably the whole franchise. Cows is probably the most hated Pixar franchise. Actually, on IMDb, I think it's the highest rated, besides the Angry Birds movie, it's the highest rated movie on there. But if you go on internet forums, yeah, this movie is just hated off the board. This movie is just funny. It's just funny. I like the, mini spy story, which is the thing that most people hate about this movie. And this movie is, it's 49% on Rotten Tomatoes. It's not as well as Jurassic Park 3, which has like a 36%. But yeah, when I was a kid, this was another movie I liked watching because I thought it was really funny. It was a really funny movie, so yeah, I like funny movies, so I watched this movie a lot. And I actually watched this movie more than the first Cows movie. The first Cows movie was good as well, but yeah, and the third movie I watched once, it was actually okay. It wasn't, Cows 3 wasn't really revolutionary, it really didn't change. And then the next movie, it's another movie I find funny, Ice Age Collision Course. Actually, the entire Ice Age franchise in general. The entire Ice Age franchise, I just think, is very underrated. And the first movie actually has the first 2 or 3 movies actually I liked, but then we go to Ice Age 4 and 5. I can see why people don't like Ice Age 4 because of the villain. He isn't really, an amazing, but again, Ice Age Continental Drift, it was still really funny, just like the first 3 Ice Age movies. Still watch that one a lot. Ice Age 5, I have seen that one the least amount of times, but Ice Age 5, it's funny. It's funny. It actually has the highest score than I thought it would be. But again, it's the same thing with Pixels. A lot of people hate it because it's an unnecessary sequel, but it's funny. This movie is funny. And they brought back Buck, the best character from Ice Age 3. And yeah, and I can see why people hate this movie because of the llama. He is probably quite possibly one of the most annoying characters in the entire movie. And yeah, he's probably like the most annoying character in the entire movie. But other than that, the pumpkin scene was really funny, especially that scene. And yeah, I like all of the Ice Age movies. And yeah, all of them are extremely funny. Ice Age and the entire franchise. Even the first 2, people don't like or there's a lot of people who don't even like the first one or the second one, which, yeah, they're definitely way better than The Good Dinosaur, which was a bland movie, which is recommended for movies that are similar to Ice Age. If you want to watch a good movie about dinosaurs, let's go watch The Dinosaur. It's way better. Disney's Dinosaur, it's way better than The Good Dinosaur. I actually don't know if people hate that movie or not, but yeah. The next movie on the list, the number 6 movie on the list is Rampage. Yep, this movie is very similar to Godzilla King of the Monsters. And yeah, this movie has a 6.1 on IMDb. And the critics, yeah, they just treated like every other box. So it's pretty highly rated for a video game-based movie. But yeah, this movie is very similar to Godzilla King of the Monsters. But yeah, Rampage is a game I played a lot when I was a kid. Rampage, the one on the GameCube specifically. And that was a really fun game. And the fact that they took the game and made it into a movie, I just had to see this movie. And yeah, Rampage is a very fun movie to watch. And the critics, they didn't really care for it. But yeah, basically, what we have been wanting, what I wanted out of the movie was them destroying stuff. The monsters, the part in the game was the monsters turning bigger, and destroying the city. That's what the movie's about. And yeah, that's what I expected from the movie. And yeah, it's a very fun movie to watch. It's like Godzilla King of the Monsters. You know, there was a hate base around that movie as well, and this movie. They're like, you know what's fun with blockbusters? They can't be good. Same thing applies to Godzilla King of the Monsters as well. A lot of people hate that movie, which, you know, the same people who hate Rampage hate Godzilla King of the Monsters, but you have to go endlessly praise Booksmart as the greatest movie of all time. Number 7. The next movie on the list is number 7, The 15 to 17 Pilots. I think this is the lowest rated movie on IMDb so far that I actually like. This movie, when I saw it, after I saw the movie, because I want to see the movie because it was based off the true story, I was shocked that this movie has such a bad score. And the sad thing is, some of the people who are actually in the actual attack, event that happened, this story, were in the movie. And people just didn't like this movie. Maybe I was like, did I see a different movie than all of the people who saw this movie? Did I see a different movie than all of you? I actually liked this movie. It was a pretty thrilling movie, and it probably won't be the last film I'll cover on this list. But yeah, it was a really thrilling movie. It was, good. The story was good because it was based off a true story, which, yeah, I always like those types of movies, unless they actually suck. I'm talking about, I'm not going to bring up that movie's name, but yeah, I just didn't, I was like, why? This movie was actually hated? People actually hate this movie? 5.2? And yeah, I think I must have seen a very different movie than what the people, and the people on IMDb. I must have seen a very different movie. I actually like this movie, so yeah. It's not a 10 out of 10 movie, I would say that, but yeah, it's like a 7 out of 10 movie. I still thought it was a decent movie, a good movie, but really, the lowest scores this movie got, 23%, it actually got a higher score than Ice Age Collision Course, but really 23%, and yeah, this movie, just, yeah, one of the lowest rated movies on the list. Number 8 is, the next movie on the list, it's actually the highest rated movie on this list. But yeah, it's not the most hated Star Wars movie any longer. It's Episode 1. I don't really care for Episode 2, but Episode 1, good lord, the hate for this movie is huge. Because of one character. So, just like a certain other movie, Ice Age Collision Course, one character does not ruin a movie, okay? You have a lot of good scenes in this movie. You have the Duel of the Fates, and you have the pod racing scene. So you're going to say, though, that stuff is trash just because of Jar Jar Binks. Of course, it's no longer the most hated Star Wars movie. That really belongs to the sequel trilogy. But yeah, I bet that hate will die down once the next trilogy comes out. People will say, that trilogy sucks as well. And yeah, this is probably, and yeah, I think a lot of people are warming up to the prequels now. But look at the worst movies on the top 10s list. This movie was in the top, 50 movies. And yeah, I don't think it's to be higher than actual really, really, bad movies. And yeah, this movie made $1 billion, but again, there's this, the prequel hate base is just absolutely crazy. Yes, you do have some pretty, not good characters, Jar Jar Binks and the weird fist people, but I liked the main, Obi-Wan, Qui-Gon, especially Darth Maul, probably one of the best Star Wars villains in Star Wars history, one of the most badass and cool Star Wars villains. And you have Duel of the Fates, of course, yeah, that's the reason why this movie is on this list. You have a movie with probably the best soundtrack, one of the best soundtracks in Star Wars, and it's just one of the most hated movies of all time. It used to be, but no longer it is, because The Last Jedi, there were still people who were still going to defend The Last Jedi, like the critics and the media, and the defenders of The Last Jedi who are absolutely, dumb. The next movie on the list is Suspect Zero. Yes, again, another movie just like Jurassic World 3, and just like another movie called The 15 to 17 Pilots. Did I see a different movie? Actually, it had the same score as Ice Age Collision Course. And yeah, I thought this movie was pretty good. It was not a awful movie like the critics made it out to be. Again, I I can like I can like whatever I want, but yeah, this movie, I actually liked it. It was pretty good. It was, I think it's another 7 out of 10 movie, like the 15 to 17 Paris. But yeah, when I saw the reviews for this movie, some people were telling me, so I knew telling me that this movie was actually okay, or it's not, abysmal movie like Rotten Tomatoes, which of course is the same site who gave Captain Marvel, 72%. But yeah, this movie was actually pretty alright. It was not a, it was not 18% like Rotten Tomatoes makes it out to be. There was a much better a similar movie that is way better than this movie. It's called Memento. But yeah, this movie was pretty good. It was pretty alright. It was pretty, it was pretty thrilling. And yeah, it's another movie on the list. And the next movie on the list, the next and last movie, this movie actually has a cult following. And next movie is Kung Pao. It's just the fact that the critics, they're still dumb, okay? The critics do not understand what a parody is, okay? Oh, but they'll give Booksmart a 10 out of 10. Don't worry, they'll give that movie. But it seems that and this is actually lowest rated movie on Rotten Tomatoes. 13% on Rotten Tomatoes. IMDb is 6.2, but again, this movie has a cult following. That's why this movie is super hard to buy on Blu-ray, because of the cult following this movie has attained over the year because of how funny it actually is. But yeah, again, like with the critics, what was they watching a different movie than what the critics are watching? There is a lot of funny scenes in this movie, and this movie is basically making fun of all those really bad martial arts movies, and basically movie tropes. This movie was making fun of all those and stuff, and yeah, this movie is hated by the critics. Another movie. But they love Booksmart. Don't worry, they'll tell you that Booksmart is an amazing movie. But yeah, this movie is really funny, and I probably have like 10 or more movies on this list. That again, a lot of critics and people hate on the internet, but I do not hate. And yeah, there's probably a few more on the list. I can probably go over them in another video, probably a part 2 of this list. And yeah, that's basically it. Goodbye.